What's going on, guys? We're back with another deck list video. This is the deck list that I've taken to the Springfield, Mass regional that happened this past weekend on Saturday. Ended up going into my last round, X11. There was 8 rounds of Swiss, so that's 6 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. Or I'm sorry, 5 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. And then it's at table 8, my last round. Fortunately, due to my own misplays and errors, I was not able to win that game. I think it was definitely winnable, but ended up the day 5 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw, which ended up getting me 31st place. Top 32 got their invite, so this was my first regional of the season. I got my invite on the first regional, which is great. Extremely proud of myself and the work that I put into this deck. Also, with the opportunity of becoming 8th place by winning that match for my first regional of the season, just shows the power of the deck and my trust into the deck. I think it's a really good deck, this format, and I specifically built this this deck to beat Fire King and Snake Eye variants. Ironically enough, I only played 3 on the day, and that was my last 3 matches pretty much. The first 5 matches were not Fire King at all. I played 1 mirror match. I had Despia in there. I also played against a Dark World deck. And what was my last matchup? Oh, what is it? Resonator, Red Dragon Archfiend deck. It was unique decks, and that deck was specifically made to beat me, and that was one of my losses. So my losses was 1 Fire King, and then 1 Red Dragon Archfiend, and I drew with a Fire King. So let's go ahead and get into the deck profile. I promise you this is not going to be as long as the last one. Also, this is not your standard voiceless voice deck profile that you're seeing all over YouTube. This has goo in it, so take notes if you want to. I love this package, and I'm going to continue with this. Last tidbit, we did play a 3v3 yesterday. We ended up getting first after Swiss and then top cut to 4. We didn't get first in the whole event. The top 4 decided to play it out. We lost the first round against 3 Fire King decks, unfortunately. But top 2 decided to split. So I guess we got third technically. But, you know, that just shows the resilience of this deck and this current format. So let's go ahead and get into it. I don't want to take too much of your time. Even though I know it's a Monday, I will be uploading this on Monday. You probably want to kill some time at work if you're working today. But let's get right into it. So first, obviously, we're going to go with your standard monster in the deck, 3 low. It's a level 1 light monster. I'm sure you should know what this card does if you're looking at this deck profile, and then if you looked at any other deck profiles, I'm sure they explained it. But this card is the heart and soul of the deck. One of your best summons. Your best normal summon you'll see later, but low is amazing card. Amazing card. The next standard is 3 Saphira. 3 Saphira is good. It's debatable to run 2 or 3, in my opinion, because it's easily searchable. A lot of cards in your deck search. So the option of running 3 is because you want to see it in your opening hand. And in some cases you do, but it plays in the Droll and Lockbird pretty hard. So if you don't have the requirements in your hand, this could pretty much stop your turn if you get drolled. So, you know, it's an option. I'm thinking about cutting. I need to cut 2 cards, and I'll tell you why at the end of the video. All right. For our ritual monsters, we got 2 Cerberus. I know this is standard, but you know what? I don't even have to wait until the end of the video. I want to cut 2 cards because I want to bump this card up to 3 for sure, and I want to bump this card up to 3. I know a lot of standard builds are playing 2 of each. I tried the build with 3 Cerberus, didn't see any downside to it. So opening this is not bad in my opinion, right? Because it's 1 less search that is required to get to your ritual. And you don't even need the ritual spell if you have Saphir or whatever. You know, it depends on your hand. But I think running 3 of each is correct. So I need to cut 2 cards to fit 1 and 1 in there. 1 more of each in there. I'm going to test it out today, see how I like it. But I found myself missing a third Skull Guardian, and then just another ritual body for our shuffling effects, like the trap, or you know, the one of Ceravis in the deck, not the Ceravis, but the monster Ceravis. So I'm gonna try it out three of each and see how that goes. If it's bricky and cloggy, then we'll obviously go back and readjust ratios. But that's the 2 cards I'm looking to cut from the deck to go ahead and fit 2 more of these in here. All right, and like I said, the one Ceravis, you know, this card is good. As you can see, it says you can special from your hand by shuffling back 1 or 2 spells from your hand to your graveyard, including a ritual spell. And then the reason why I want to play more of these ritual spells is because it makes him more live, right? If you have 2 in graveyard as a Skull Guardian, you have 1 more in deck. You can special summon this. Same thing with the Ceravis. Also, drawing a third Ceravis or opening it when you're in your opening hand is not a bad thing. You could be Imperm and Veeler with it. So, there we go. All right, and then we're going to go to this package. The best normal summon of the deck is definitely Diviner. It opens it up to a bunch of different plays, right? So you can go into Chaos Angel with this package. You can also go into your normal, you know, Tribute Diviner with the Trios here to get your low out as a special summon. You can activate the effect, and then you can also activate the effect again if you tribute it off to bring back the low because it didn't come out by its own effect. So kind of just recycling low in that aspect. Also, there's a cool play where you can get Saphira out and also this card, which is a level 8. You can go to a Cell, Synchro Stardust Dragon, and then go to a bring back the Herald, go into a Baron. I don't play the Excel. There's 2 cards missing from my extra deck. I have 13. But I didn't find me missing the 2 empty spots. So my extra deck I played at the regional on the 3v3 was sufficient enough for me. I'm obviously going to add Chaos Angel and possibly the Excel and see how that goes, but we'll see. Okay, this is the goo. All right, if you made it this far into the video, congratulations, man. You're going to see the goo that I'm on. And honestly, bro, people were talking about me at the regional. There's 250 people there, and people were talking about this package right here. Okay? The 3 Branded Fusion, the Albaz, and the Jowg and the Spiritualist. Okay? If you stick around near the end, I'll show you why this is important and why this package works in this deck pretty much seamlessly. You are playing, I would say maybe a brick with this. Like, this could be considered a brick, I guess. I would say it's a soft brick. Fallen of Albaz is also a soft brick. You don't want to open these cards, but you definitely want to open the Branded Fusion. That's why you're on 3 of them. Okay? So stick around near the end of the video. I'll show you why it's good, if you don't know already. Okay, we're going back into our Voiceless Voice package for spells and traps. So, you know, you play the 1 Radiance, the 2 Prayers, and then the 3 Barriers. I think this ratio is good. I tested out 3 Prayers of the Voiceless Voice, the ritual spell, because opening it is pretty good. Also, the banishing effect is pretty good. But I found myself opening 2 sometimes, and it just doesn't feel good when you open 2. It kind of makes your Saphiras kind of dead, because you do need to send 1 from your deck to the graveyard to open up to activate Saphira. So I think 2 is good ratio. I'm still messing around with it, but this has worked out for me so far, so I'm not changing anything. And you always play 1 of the Radiance. You don't want to play more of the Radiance. That could be a brick too. Okay. Some more engine support. You want to play 3 Preparation of Rites. You want to open this card. It's a +1 if it resolves. Also, your deck has so much searching in it that if it does not resolve or they ash it, you can read your opponent that way. If they ash it, they don't have Droll, right? Or they're willing to waste 2 cards out of their hands, Droll and Ash. But most likely, if they ash this card, they don't have Droll, so you can search out your cards that you need with your Voiceless Voice engine. Also, if they let this resolve and they Droll you, you have a ritual spell and a ritual monster in hand. All you need is the requirements, and you can still activate. You can still summon out some of your ritual monsters. And I played around with Droll like that several times. If I had the low in hand already, you know, search the ritual spell, search the monster, and you're good to go under Droll. So, good card. Good card. Needed at 3. Can't cut that. My 1 for 1. This is the card I'm considering cutting. You know, it's a good going second side out option. Obviously, right, you don't want to play 1-for-1 going second. So you can easily side that out for other cards that are better going second. But I found that it wasn't really needed. And I found that it could be a -1 if they ash it, because you're pitching something, right, as cost. So I'm thinking about taking this out, and I'll explain for what later. Not the 2 ritual spells, but something else. Okay. I would say this is the most interesting part of the deck, and no one is on this. I don't think anyone that I've seen with a deck list is on these ratios here, and I'll explain them why. All right. So the first, we're gonna go up here, 2 Pot of Prosperity. The reason why I'm playing 2 Pot of Prosperity and not 3 is because I already do so much searching with the deck. Playing 3 Pot of Prosperity is you're playing it to drill way harder, right? That's for starters. You're playing to drill way harder. Also, if this resolves, you don't want to see another pot in your reveal 6, right? Or your reveal 3, whatever you do. You don't want to see another Pot of Prosperity in there. So playing 2 just makes more sense to me. Makes your options more live, in my opinion. So 2 is the correct number in my opinion. Okay, next we're playing 2 Triple Tactics Talent. We are definitely in a format where monster effects activate in the main phase, 100%. On your turn, on their turn, it's continuously happening. I think 2 is the correct number. 1 for deck restrictions, right? I play 42 cards in this deck, so I don't want to break myself by playing too many cards. Also, I don't want to open up 2. I think opening up 2 Triple Tactics Talents feels so bad. You basically have a dead card in your hand because you can only activate once per turn. Okay, so 2 is fine. I saw them enough during my tournaments, and whenever I did see them, it was either dead or good. So you don't want to play more than 2, in my opinion. Okay, here we go. We're gonna continue. 2 Ash Blossom, 2 Joel and Lockbird, 2 Nibiru, and lastly, 2 Effect Veiler. Okay, mainly these are at 2 ratios because of deck restrictions. I'm at 42 cards already, and you just can't cut certain cards out of this deck. And the Fallen Valbaz package is just super good, and I'll explain that later. I'll show you the little combo that you can do. But Ash Blossom at 2, I feel like is really good this format because 1, you really don't want to see it against Fire King. They will use it against you, but you do want to see it enough for rogue decks. So if I'm playing against Fire King, 100% siding out Ash Blossom. I don't think it's as impactful against that matchup as others may think. 2 Joel and Lockbird were decent. Joel and Lockbird has been, I'm just going to say it right now, Joel and Lockbird has been underperforming, and I think everyone is starting to recognize that. Fire King can play under it, Voiceless Voice can play under it, and other matchups, I'm sure, like Despia, do not care about Joel and Lockbird. Those are the top 3 decks in the format. Why are we still playing it? It plays way too hard into... Because if you're playing against a good player, they're going to try to search during the main phase. It plays way too hard into talents as well. So I'm definitely cutting Joel and Lockbird going forward. I'm going to put in Infinite Impermanence. As you realize, there is no Infinite Impermanence in this lineup. I'm going to put that in there. I think it plays less into Triple Tactics Talent, of course, a blowout card. And it could be more impactful than Joel and Lockbird. I know Joel and Lockbird is like a floating effect, right? If it resolves, it's for the whole turn. But Fire doesn't really care about it. Despia doesn't really care about it. And Voiceless Voice does not really care about it. Okay, 2 Nibiru. This is the same logic as Pot of Prosperity. I don't want to open up 2 Nibiru. It's literally the worst feeling in the world. I know some players probably feel that same way. When you see 2 Nibirus in your opening hand, it's basically like you drew 4 cards. All right, so, or if you're going second, right? Because if you're going second, you draw 2, then you basically have 5 cards. You're at a -1 if you have 2 of them. One of them just simply doesn't do anything. In the Voiceless Voice deck, you can obviously use it as a tribute, so it isn't as feel bad as it does in other decks, but that's still not ideal. You don't want to tribute your Nibiru for your ritual. You want to tribute low, right? You want to tribute low or Saphira or things that can activate in the graveyard. Nibiru is not ideal. It's basically a bailout. Okay? 2 Effect Veiler. I decided to go with Effect Veiler this format, and there's 2 reasons. 1, if it resolves, it's a good card, right? I know I built this deck to play against Fire King, so Kieran and stuff can dodge it. However, it kind of forces that interaction there. Also, with the Fallen of the Albaz package, the Branded Fusion, and the Jowgen, if I somehow draw the Jowgen, or sorry, not the Jowgen, if somehow I tried to use the Jowgen play and it didn't work, I can still use Effect Veiler. Okay, Effect Veiler is a spellcaster. I could bring back out a, you'll see in the extra deck, a Sanctifier Dragon. That's what you get out with this. And you can continue. You can continue playing. That's the ideal outcome. All right. So I'm playing these at 2. I have not had any problems with them at the ratio of 2. I think people feel like you need to max them out, so you need to have all these like hand traps in your deck. Really, you're just playing harder into tactics, triple tactics talent, and you see these enough, right? If you count everything here, including the talents, that's what 2, 4, 6, 8. You have 10. You have a 42 card deck. Your ratio is pretty good. You want to have like a 70 to 30 ratio, and you're pretty much there. I did the calculations. It's like 67.5% engine, and the rest is non-engine. So there you have it. That's the main deck. Let's go ahead and continue on to the extra deck. So like I said, I'm missing 2 extra deck cards. I kind of have an idea of what I want to put in those spots now after playtesting. But let's go ahead and get started. So we have the 2 Dynamundo, of course. Dynamundo is a really good card. I misplayed in the 3v3, but I mean, it turns out it didn't matter anyway. But I forgot the Dynamundo shuffling effect, where you can shuffle a ritual monster from your graveyard back into the deck to go ahead and spin a card on their field to shuffle it into the deck. That came up. So I think 2 is the right number. You don't want to play just 1. Okay. And we have a bunch of 1-of links. We have SP, Relinquish Anima, IP Masquerena, and Nightmare Phoenix. The reason why I went with this package here is 1, IP is good. I went with Anima instead of Linkuriboh because Anima, this deck kind of has a hard time with removal without attacking, right? Because your Skull Guardian is 41, so attacking is not an issue. But taking out majority of the board kind of is an issue, okay? So Anima is, if they play into Anima, it's a great option. SP is another option for removal. IP into SP is great. And then just more back row removal with the Nightmare Phoenix. Okay. Next part is your Herald package. Low key, right? It's the Entis you want to send, the Garura you want to send. I'm missing Chaos Angel. The Chaos Angel would be here because that's how you can, Diviner the Trios, and then you get the low out. You can go into Chaos Angel. So it would be here. So that would be the 14th spot of the extra deck. So there you have it. That's self-explanatory. And then here's the branded package here. Now, this is interesting. People are saying, why, if you have branded fusion, right? You're only going into Sanctifier. You go straight into Sanctifier by sending the Albaz and the Jowgen. You go straight into Sanctifier. So they're asking, why do you play these? Right? If this resolves, and it's all good, right? And you have a branded fusion, you have options here. You can go into Albion still. How do you go into Albion? You can definitely, there's ways you can do it, right? You can special summon back out Albaz if you wanted to, and another card to their field. Then you can branded fusion again, go into the Albion, by sending the Albaz and a Light Monster, which you play plenty of. And with that, you can go into your Mirror Jade. Okay, so this is your main play. You want to do it going first. But going second, if you need to out things on their board, like I said, this deck has a hard time with outing things. You can go Albion into Mirror Jade. And that just makes, it just applies a lot of pressure to your opponent to respond. Because also going into Fire, this banishes, it doesn't destroy. So they definitely will respond to this. The great thing about it as well is Mirror Jade effect at the end phase will destroy all of their monsters, which might not sound good against Fire, but it's really good against all other decks. And it kind of resets them, even Fire players, it kind of resets them. They don't put up an Omni Negate, so it will resolve, most likely. Okay. Last two cards of the extra deck, and then now, I already talked about the Chaos Angel I want to add. But one Baron, one Typhon. You can go into Baron in this deck, like I said, with the Excel Synchro, and then the Excel Synchro into the Baron by bringing back the Diviner. Sky Crisis came up a couple times. It kind of conflicts with your own monster, your own Guardian, Skull Guardian. However, this is kind of like a last-ditch effort. If you need to get rid of something on the Fire side, you kind of have to go into this regardless. And they will out this. They will out this before the Skull Guardian. That's what I found out in my 3v3. I have this on field with a Skull Guardian a low. So obviously my own Skull Guardian was negated, but so was all their 3,000 attack monsters that were on the field or on the grave, anywhere, right? Anything that's 3,000 attack cannot activate their effects. So they tried to Flame Burst and they couldn't because I had Sky Crisis. So they were like, okay, if I want to get my most valuable play off, which is pretty much Flame Burst, bring back 2, they have to out the Sky Guardian, the Sky Crisis. So they did that, and now I have my Negate live, right? So it was hard for them to play through that. So don't be scared of going into Sky Crisis if you control your Skull Guardian on low. And also your back row, right? The back row protects you from targeting. So there you have it. There is an argument to play another Sanctifier Dragon. It is not limited. It's not semi-limited. None of that. There is an argument to play another Sanctifier Dragon. You just have to probably play another Fallen of Albaz, which is a brick. But you don't really want to rely on that package to win because your engine is good enough to go and win the game anyway. But still messing around with the extra deck. 2 spots I can fill. One's going to be Chaos Angel. The other one might be Excel Synchro Stardust to make the Baron better. If I don't play the Excel Synchro, then I'll cut the Baron and we can go ahead with more links in there. But maybe like the Light Tremor. I think the Light Tremor is also a sleeper pick this format. People are playing light monsters. Don't get it confused. I know there's a lot of fire decks running around. However, mirror matches, if you have Light Tremor, you're probably going to win that game. So let's go ahead and go to the side deck. I don't want to take too long, right? Got 2 anti-spell. It's going to be the same side deck, actually, as my last deck video. Goes Spooky Dogwood. People don't play this card. It's a time card. Fire decks have super long combos. So this came up a lot. I actually want to match with it. Too evenly. You don't want to open too many. That's self-explanatory. 2 Cosmic I went with. And I went, our hardest matches is Labyrinth for sure. So I would say 3 Bell is ideal. You want 3 Bell in there. And then the MVP side deck card for the whole event shuts down Fire, Summon Limit. Okay, so I think the most standard, I wouldn't even say my side deck is standard. No one plays Dogwood. Everyone plays Summon Limit. Bells are everywhere. Cosmic at 2. No one really plays evenly. And Anti-Spell is coming up more and more often because it is good, but I usually go for either Summon Limit or Anti-Spell. I don't do both typically because Anti-Spell can hurt you as well. Even though you place your things, there's some spells that you need to activate in my build specifically. So like Branded Diffusion, all that stuff. All right, that's the side deck. I'm just going to show you quickly what Branded Fusion does. You probably know already, so if you know, then feel free to click off. But here we go. So you activate Branded Fusion. You send your Albaz and your Jelgen. Okay. And you get out your Sanctifier Dragon. You typically do this first, right? This is your setup already, just from one branded fusion. Okay, you either have this in the extra monster zone or you can put it in your regular monster zone. It doesn't matter at all. But from here, you play regular Yu-Gi-Oh, right? You play your Voiceless deck engine. It doesn't conflict with branded fusion at all because you're not summoning from the extra deck turn one, right? Because one, if you try to go into the Dynamundo play, you're playing into Nib. You don't really want to do that. And with this, you could just go low place. I'll show it a little bit so you can see it. But you go, where's low over here? You go low place your spell, right? Spell search Saphira to hand, dump Saphira. That's gonna dump the ritual spell, and you add your Skull Guardian to hand. So that's summon 2. You activate your Saphira by banishing it. Can you see this over here? You activate your Saphira by banishing it. You tribute the low. You get Skull Guardian out. That's summon 3. Okay, and then you go 1, 2. You always want your low to resolve. This will search. Go here. You can search a number of things here. You can search, you can search your Old Man. You can search your Savaris. Anything. Follow up if you want to. Most of the time I go for Old Man. And here's why. You can shuffle back your prayers and your branded fusion, so mix them live into the deck. Right? Those go back into the deck. And now you have a quick effect here where you can get out another low if you need, or is it another? Yeah, I think if you get a ritual monster. You could get out another Skull Guardian if need be, or another, or you can get a Cerberus out, right? And this will be summon 5, however you got Omni Negate, right? So if they try to nib you, okay, negate and destroy, and you're good there, right? So that'll be your play. This is standard end board, plus you have, how many cards is this? You activated Branded Fusion, and you normal summon the low. So that's 2 cards you used, right? You have 3 other cards in hand that are not used, so those are unknowns. So you can set your cards, or you can have follow-up, hand traps, whatever you may have. Draw phase on their turn, you're going to activate the Sanctifier, which is live. You're going to give them the Fallen of Albaz, and you're going to special summon the Jalganet on your field, okay? The reason why this is extremely good and why people were talking about it in the regional is because of this card right here, right? When these 2 are on the field, you can only attack Skull Guardian. He has an Omni Negate. They can't special summon. Also, they cannot attack this or target it because the barrier of the Voiceless Voice says right here in context, right? While you control low and a light ritual monster, your opponent can only target ritual monsters for attack. Also, your opponent cannot target light monsters you control with card effects. Okay, so that's all light monsters. They can't target this. Well, they couldn't target this anyway because of its own effect, but they can't target anything on your field. How are they going to out this board? They have to get rid of this. Okay? They have to get rid of this. So, number of things you could do there. I think this board is strong enough to win games. Unless they have the back row removal or some type of way to remove this without special summoning, which is very difficult. This board is very hard to out. Then you can continue, right? You can use this effect if they try to activate. Oh, it goes to hand. And you're going to special summon Cerberus. It's even harder now. They have no inherent summonings. So this is great, man. This is a great board. Just wanted to show you guys that quickly. Hopefully this video was shorter than the last one, but I appreciate you guys checking in. Tell me what you think about the profile. I'm still thinking about adding 2 more ritual spells and cutting 1 for 1 for one of them, and then cutting Joel and Lockbirds for the 2 Imperms. I think Imperms might be better than the Joel and Locks. And I need to cut 1 more card for another ritual. It's hard for me to tell which card to cut. I might just try a 3 and 2, or I might just try a 3 and 2 and see how that goes. But if anything changes or updates, I'll let you guys know. Thanks for checking in, y'all. See you on the next one. Peace.